అర్థమవుతుందా నాన్న అదంతా? So in today's class I'll continue the next topics of your third unit. So your second topic is 8254 software programmable timer or counter. So that is your second topic. So is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So your second concept of third unit is 8254 software programmable timer. Okay, so this is your second topic. So previously we have discussed about interfacing of semiconductor memories. Okay, so interfacing of semiconductor memories. So I have explained you what is a semiconductor memory. Semiconductor memory is nothing but it's a memory device which is used to store some data. So whatever the memory space we are allocating to store a particular data, so that comes under semiconductor memories. Okay, so there are different types of semiconductor memories: RAM, ROM, and variety of RAMs and ROMs. Okay, variety of RAM and ROM. So we have seen how these semiconductor memory devices like RAM or ROM will get interfaced with a microprocessor 8086 earlier. So today we will discuss about 8254 software programmable timer or counter. So let's see what is a 8254 software programmable timer or a counter. So if you can consider, so the name itself indicates that it's a timer. So what is the function, what is the definition of a timer? So timer is nothing but it's a device which is used to count the intervals. Okay, so timer is nothing but which is used to maintain the count of the pulses. So if we are working on a program, so this timer will gives you the time taken by the software to resolve this program, so to execute this program. So if the user is working on a program, so if we are using a timer in the hardware of this programming device, so on what device we are going to program, we are writing the program. If we use a timer in that programming device, so the programming device will provides you the count. So what is the time taken? So number of clock pulses. Based on what? Based on clock pulses it will provides a count. So this count will gives you the data that, so the time taken by this program, by the device to execute this program. So how much time the device has taken to execute this particular program, so that will be given by a device called timer. So it will maintain the data of other devices. So if we consider a microprocessor, so 8086 microprocessor, so it contains three main components: ALU, registers, and timing and circuit. This timing and control circuit, which is nothing but a timer, will provides you the data of remaining devices connected to it. So if the devices, if we are connecting some input output devices, so input devices, output devices, some memory blocks, so we are connected different types of components to this microprocessor. So this timer, so the timing circuit will gives you whether these devices that are connected to this component, to this processor, are in synchronous with this processor or not. That means whatever the data, so we are providing from these devices is in synchronous with the microprocessor or not. So that will be provided by this timer circuit. So timer is simply a counting device. So it is used to measure the time taken by the device in order to perform a particular task. So whatever might be the task, So whatever might be the task, whether it may be a program, whether it may be some operation which we want to perform, whether it may be some specific user defined task. So whatever might be the task, so that task will be done by a device. So this, if the device contains a timer, so this timer will provides the time taken by this device to perform this particular task. So that is what a timer do. So it will keeps the count of clock pulses. So it will keeps the count of the clock pulses. Okay, so here 8254 is a software programmable timer. So here we generally use 8254 timer device. So timer, so how we will keep 8086 as a microprocessor IC number. So likewise 8254 is the timer type, so it indicates the IC count. Okay, so 8254 is a timer. So it has been developed by a company called Intel. So Intel 8254, we generally use Intel 8254 timer in all the devices. In majority of the devices or majority of the ICs, we use 8254 timer. Okay, so this 8254 timer, so this is a we can call it also as a counter. So since it keeps the count of the clock pulses, so timer device is used to keep the count of the clock pulses, so we can call 8254 as timer or counter. So this Intel 8254 timer or counter is such a device. It is designed to solve the common timing control problems. Okay, so it is designed in order to solve the common timing control problems in a microprocessor system. So when we are considering a microprocessor system, so whether if the system is facing some common timing control problems, so that means whatever the timer circuit in the 8086 microprocessor is unable to maintain this synchronization, then we will connect an additional timer. So the timer is connected out from the device. So this Intel 8254 is a timer or a counter which is designed in order to address this common timing control problems of the microprocessor system. So what it does, so this 8254, so this is a timer. So it will provide three independent 16-bit counters. How many? Three independent 16-bit counters. Okay, so this 8254, so it is capable of providing three independent 16-bit counters. Each are capable of handling clock inputs up to 10 megahertz. Okay, so each counter can be able to handle the clock inputs up to 10 megahertz. So that means it can use a clock pulse of 10 megahertz. So the frequency of the clock pulse which we use in this 8254 timer is up to 10 megahertz. So it is capable of handling a clock pulse of 10 megahertz. That means it will keep the synchronization between the timer device and the microprocessor whose clock period is up to 10 megahertz. The clock period of these devices may be up to 10 megahertz. So it consists three independent counters. So this 8254 timer contains three independent counters. These are capable of handling the clock pulse up to 10 megahertz. Okay. So here we are using this timer in various modes of operations. So we can use in different modes of operations. Mode of operation. So what is the mode of operation? So if we connect this 8254 timer with a microprocessor 8086, so it can be operated in two modes of operation. One is minimum mode and another one is maximum mode. So even if the microprocessor is operating in either minimum mode or maximum mode, it can be able to connect with this timer since it is capable of handling the circuit in various modes of operation. So it can, since the timer is capable of handling the device in various modes of operation, so whatever might be the mode of operation of the particular device which this timer is connected, we can use this 8254 timer. So that means it is a timer in which all modes are software programmable. So 8254 timer has various modes that are software programmable. Software programmable. Okay, so that means the modes of 8254 are software programmable, and it is an advanced version of 8253. So before 8254 we have 8253, so which does not have this feature of read back option. So read back option is not there in 8253. So the features of 8254 and 8253 are same. 8254 is the advanced version of this 8253. So the features are same for 8253 and 8254. So the only added feature for 8254 is read back option. So read back feature is the advanced thing that is present in 8254, which is not present in 8253. So we can use either 8253 timer or 8254 timer. So when we do not require this read back option, since the features are same. So what is meant by this read back? So read back, so the name itself indicates that, so this read back command is used to check the count value. Check the count value. So if the timer counts 4 clocks, okay, 4 clocks. So the timer counts 4 clocks on the end of a program. So if we are doing a particular task using this 8086, so at the end of this task, so the timer counts 4 clocks. So whether the timer has counted correctly or not, so whether this 4 clock cycles count is correct or not, so that will be verified under this read back option. So we can go back, so by using 8254 we can go back with this counting clocks. Okay, so it can be able to check the count value. So since it counts a 4 value, so whether this 4 is correct or not, so that will be calculated or verified by using this read back option. So this read back command in 8254 will be used to check the count value of the timer. So whatever the count provided by this timer, so in order to check this count value, so this read back option in 8254 will be used. So that is the difference between 8253 and 8254. Remaining features are same for 8253 and 8254. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here we are discussing about 8254 software programmable timer, right? So let's define a timer first. So what is a timer? Timer is nothing but it is a special type of clock. Okay, special type of clock. So timer is simply a special type of clock which is used to measure the time intervals. Okay, time intervals. So it is used to measure the time intervals. It is a special type of clock used to measure the time intervals. So that means a timer is a device which is used to determine the time intervals of the circuit. So whatever the circuit is there, so in order to define the time interval of that particular circuit, this timer is used. Okay, so next you have something called counter. So counter is nothing but it is used to store the number of count. Store the number of times a particular event is done. Occurs with respect to clock. So this is what a counter is. So this counter is used to store the number that is provided by this timer. So timer is used to measure the time intervals. So if we consider an operation on a particular device, so what is the time taken to complete this operation? So within how many clock pulses this operation has done? So that will be given by this timer circuit, and counter will keeps the count. So that means it will store the number of times a particular event has occurred with respect to this clock. So with respect to this clock, how many times? So it will gives you the number. So it will gives you the number. So it will gives you the time, and it will gives you the number of clock pulses required for particular event. So that is, it is used to count the events happening outside the microcontroller. So outside the microcontroller or a microprocessor, if the event has been occurring, so that event will be counted. So it will gives the count on that particular event. Okay, so both this timer and counter functions in the processor or in a controller is to simply count in synchronous with clock. Okay, so the both, what if we use a timer or if we use a counter, so whatever might be, so the both this timer and counter functions in a processor or in a controller is to simply count in synchronization with the clock. So that means 8086 will have a clock signal. So for the timer which we are connected externally to this 8086, so that will also have a clock signal. So these two must be in sync with each other. So that means how many clock pulses the 8086 processor used for particular operation or particular task, so that will be measured by this timer. So for that reason, both the clock signals should be in sync with each other. So that means this either it may be a timer or a counter, so it will keeps the count in sync with the clock signal of the device. Okay, so counter only count up to 256 bits. Okay, so 256, so that means we have an 8-bit counter at max. Okay, 8-bit counter is the maximum value for the counter available. So or we can have a 16-bit counter. So after 16-bit counters we don't have counters. Okay, so after 16-bit we don't have counters, but we have timers after 16-bit. Okay, so timer will able to measure 1 lakh ticks per second. Okay, so it can be able to measure 1 lakh ticks per second, whereas counter can be able to measure 65,535. So the maximum value of the 16-bit counter is 65,535 ticks per second. So this is how the counter, this is the maximum value of the counter, and whereas a timer can accommodate 1 lakh, 1 lakh, okay, 1 lakh ticks per second. Okay, so this is the timer and counter. So let's see the basic block diagram of this timer or counter for external bus. So how this timer will gives you the counts. So let's say this is the data bus. So I have said you that 8254 timer will have 3 counters. Okay, so 8254 will have 3 counters. So for that reason, Read and write control logic. So next thing you are having is a control register. Counter 0, counter 1, counter 2. So if you can see the internal structure of this 8254, so architecture of 8254, 8254 contains 3 counters. Okay, so it has 3 counters. So counter 0, C0, C1 and C2. So each so this is entirely an 8254 timing device. Okay, so this is entire portion is a 8254 timing device. Okay, so this is an 8254 timing device which contains a counter, 3 counters, counter 0, counter 1 and counter 2, and each counter will have 2 inputs and 1 output. So each counter will have 2 inputs and 1 output. So one input is clock and another input is gate, and the output is out. Okay, so it has 2 inputs and 1 output, clock signal, gate signal and output. Clock, gate and out. So each counter will have 2 inputs. So each counter having 2 inputs, see clock and gate. Okay, one is clock and another one is gate. So you all know the clock signal. It is used to measure the time taken. So it will gives you the time taken by a device to complete a particular task. So what is gate? So gate is used to enable or disable counting. So it is used to enable or disable the counting task. So gate is nothing but it allows the counter, it instructs the counter to perform the counting operation, or it will dismiss the counter to perform the counting operation. So enabling and disabling of the counting will be done by this gate input. So next one is output. So this is out will indicate the output of the counter. So that means it will display the number of counts. So it has 3 counters. The basic block of 8254 timer has 3 counters, counter 0, counter 1 and counter 2. Each counter will have 2 inputs and 1 output. So 2 inputs and 1 output. So clock and gate are the inputs. So clock, you already know, it is used to give the time taken by a device in order to complete a task. So that is clock. And next one is gate. So gate is nothing but gate is used to enable or disable the counting. So whether the counter has to count the clocks or counter will not count the clock signals. So that means it whether it need to maintain count or not. Count or not. So whether it need to maintain a count or not, so that will be provided by this gate signal. And the last one is out terminal, so which is an output signal. So it will provides you the output of the counter. So it counts the, if suppose if it counts a clock of 4 clocks, so the count on this counter is 4. So 4 will be displayed here, or else it will not it has not counted anything, so nil will be displayed at this output terminal. So it has 2 input terminals and 1 output terminals. So when any value of the count is loaded, so that means if the counter has counted, the counter has maintained a count on a particular operation, so that means it will be loaded with some particular value. So when any value of count is loaded, and the gate then will sets to 1. So the gate will set to 1. So the logic 1 on this gate terminal. So logic 1 on this gate terminal will enables the counter to make the count. So if the if the value is not loaded, so that means logic 0. So gate is at logic 0, value is not loaded at the counter. So what are the two cases for gate? Logic 0 and logic 1. So these are the two logics for this gate terminal. So the gate will enable or disable the counting. So we have two logics for this gate terminal. So logic 0 indicates no value. Okay, so no value, so that means no value of counter. So that means value is not loaded on the counter. So logic 1 indicates that value of the count is loaded. So value of the counter is loaded with a count. So that means the counter is loaded with particular value, then this gate terminal is at logic 1. So if there is no value at this counter, the gate terminal is under logic 0. So this is how this gate terminal will be, gate input terminal will be used. Okay, so gate is a input terminal which is used to enable or disable the counting of the counter. Okay, so we have two logics for this gate input. So one is logic 0 and one is logic 1. So if it is at logic 0, no value, the counter reads no value. So no value will be displayed on the counter. So if it is logic 1, that means the counter is loaded with particular value. So after every step of step value of the count, so suppose if the counter is first initiated with a particular value. So after every count, the counter will get decremented. Okay, so decrement of the count will be done after every count. So initially the counter will be provided with a particular count. Suppose if the counter is a 16-bit counter, the maximum value of the counts will be 65 535. So this is the maximum value of this counter. So this after every count, so first it has counted one clock. Okay, so it has counted one clock, so that then the value is 65 534. So that means the maximum capacity is 65 535. After first count, the maximum value is 65 534. So next after second count, it is 65 533. So that means after every count of this particular counter, the value of the counter will get decremented. So the value after every step value of the count is decremented by 1 unit, and after all the counts it will be goes to 0. It will becomes 0. So depending upon the value of control signal and input. Okay, so a1 a0 terminals input. So what the values at a1 a0 and the counter control register values. So the value will get 0 at a particular count. After n number of counts, it will be connected to logic 0. So these counters will connected to data bus read and write and Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
ఓకే, సో ఎక్కడి వరకు విన్నారు? సో ఎంతవరకు ఫాలో అయ్యారమ్మా?
లాజిక్ 0 చెప్తున్నారు కదా మ్యామ్.
సో గేట్ టెర్మినల్, హౌ ద గేట్ టెర్మినల్ ఆపరేట్స్ అక్కడ దాకా విన్నారా?
ఎస్ మ్యామ్.
Okay, so here you have three pins for this counter. For this 8254 timing device, you have three counter devices inside. So each counter will have two input pins and one output pin. So the two input pins are clock, gate, and the output pin is out terminal. So it will gives you the output of this counter. So this counter, the counter, so if it is a 16-bit counter, if you consider it as a 16-bit counter, so the value of the 16-bit counter is 65,535. So this is the number of ticks that it can be count per second. So that means this value will be initialized to this counter under logic 1 of gate. So if the gate is at this logic 1, so the gate terminal is at logic 1, so that means the counter has a particular value. The counter has been given up, set up with a particular value. So after every step, suppose if the counter counts 1, so after this first step, the value will be decremented by 1. So the value will be decremented by 1. So after another count, after second count, again the value will be decremented by 1. So that means for some, after these many counts, the value will be 0. The value of the counter will be 0. So the value of the counter will be set to 0 after the maximum counts the counter can accommodate. So if it is an 8-bit counter, so the count is around 30,000. So if it is a 8-bit counter, the count is around 30,000. If it is a 4-bit counter or a 2-bit counter, it can count only 256 bits. So the maximum value, so the logic 0, attaining a 0 of the counter will depends upon the maximum value of the counter. So the maximum bits a counter can count, so that will be the value which is initiated to this counter under a logic 1 of this gate terminal. So after each count, the value of this counter will get decremented. So this counter will connect to the bus read and write logic and control register the processor through a internal bus structure. Okay, so through an internal bus structure, the counters, so that is nothing but the timing circuit will get connected to this data bus of the processor. So this data bus contains data lines, so D0 to D7. So let's say D0 to D7 are the data lines this data bus buffer can accommodate. So the count value will be in synchronized with this processor. So let's say this is 8086 processor. So the counter is connected to, the timer is connected to an 8086 processor. So the synchronization between this counter and 8086 will be measured by this control register. Okay, this control will provides the synchronization between these two. So between the timing and the processor. So here we have read and write logic. So this has a read command. So again a write command. So it has control pins A1, A0 and a control signal CS. Okay, so here the read and write logic of the microprocessor, any operation will be depend upon the read and write logic of the microprocessor. So read means that is it has to take the data, it has to get the data on which it has to done an operation. So on which the processor has to do the operation. So that data will be taken from the devices by using this read command. Write means after performing the operation, the microprocessor will generate the output. So getting the data and processing the data and generating the output, so that will be done by this read and write control logic. So this read and write control logic will be operated based on these three signals, A0, A1 and CS. So these are the three signals that are used to determine the address of selected counter. So based on these signals, any of these counters will be get selected. C0, C1, C2. We have three counters in this timing device based on the controls of read and write logic. So A0, A1 and CS. So based on these three, so we can determine the address of this selected counter. So which counter has been selected. So that will be given by this commands A0, A1 and A2. So this control logic will now connected to any of these counters. Okay, so any of these counters. This is how the internal structure of the 8254 timing circuit will be like. So this control register will be connected to all the counters, and the logic is connected to read and write logic. So the logic of the control register is connected to read and write control logic. So here A0, A1, CS based on these three signals along with control logic will gives you the address of this counter. So how the counter will get selected? So based on what? Based on CS, based on A1 and A0. Based on these three only, any of these counters will get selected. Selected counter. So how these counters will get selected? C0, C1, C2. How these controls will get selected? So 0, 0, 0. So if the control signal source, so this control CS is always 0. So based on A1 and A2, the selection of the counter will be done. So we have four combinations for two inputs. Okay, so these are the four combinations 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. So based on this, the selection of this counter from any of these three counters will be done. So any one of this counter will be selected based on the input. So if A0, A1, so here A0, A1 are the logics to read and write control logic. So if both are 0, then counter 0 is selected, then the first counter will get selected. So if the date value on A0 and value on A1, so both the values are 0, so then counter C0 is selected. So next, if the A1 reads 1 and A0 reads 0, so then counter 1 is selected, C1 is selected. So if A1 0 reads 0 and A0 reads 1, so if it is the logic on A0 and A1, so then counter C2 is selected. Okay, counter C2 is selected. So if both A1 and A0 is 1 1, so any of these counters will not selected, and the data will be stored in this control register. So whatever the data we want to make a count, so that will be, the count will be stored in this control register. So control register will get selected. Okay, so this is how we any of these counter will get selected from all the available three counters. So we have available with counter 0, counter 1 and counter 2. So any of the counter will get selected by using these commands A0 and A1. So whatever the logic that is present in this A0 and A1, so that will allows the processor to select any of these counters based on this table. So CS is always 0. So if A0, A1 both are zeros, counter 0 is selected, and if A1 reads 0 and A0 reads 1, counter 1 is selected. If A1 reads 1 and A0 reads 0, counter 2 is selected, and if both A0 and A1 reads 1, then the data will be present in control logic. Okay, so this is how the counters of the available timing circuit will get selected. So what are the applications of this timing device? So why is it used? Why we are using this timing device along with a processor? So the main thing is, it is used to generate accurate time delays. Okay, so it is used to generate accurate time delays. Okay, use it to generate accurate time delays. So accurate time delays means if the processor takes one clock cycle to get start. So on providing the clock signal, on providing the trigger input only, the microprocessor will get activated. So if the microprocessor has a delay of one clock cycle, so that means after applying the clock cycle, it will not start immediately, it will not get activated immediately, it will take some time, that is one clock cycle to get activated. So that means so this is the clock we are triggering to the microprocessor, and after this clock cycle only, so one height and one low, after this clock cycle only the microprocessor is get activated. So then this is the entire clock cycle on which the microprocessor operation will be measured. So whatever the operation the user provide to this microprocessor, the operation will be measured from the remaining clock cycles in order to measure this time delay. So this will be considered as a time delay, and this will be considered as the count for the completion of the operation. So this accurate time delays will be maintained by using this timer circuit. So this timer circuit will be used to generate accurate time delays on a processor. So next, so it will be used as a event counter. Okay, use as an event COUNTER counter. So it will be used as an event counter. So that means whenever we are performing an operation on a particular device, so how many cycles or how many clock pulses that this device has been taken to complete that particular operation. So event counter, so it is used as an event counter. So that means it will give you the time period taken by a device to complete particular operation. So this is how it is used as an event counter. So next, it is also used to generate waves. Okay, generate square waves. Okay, so since it generates clock cycles, it works on clock cycles, so it can be, a timer can be used as a square wave generator. It is used to generate square waves. Okay, so next what is the main intention is, so it is used as a rate generator. Okay, so what is meant by rate? So rate will gives you the ratio of the time taken by a system to the actual time which we are providing. So what is the time? So if suppose X is the overall time we are providing for the system, and if the system complete the task in X minus 1 time period, so the rate X minus 1 by X, so this rate will be generated by using this timing device. So it is used as a rate generator. So these are the applications of this timing device. So why is it needed to use a timing device is that it is used to generate accurate time delays. It is used to generate accurate time delays. It is used as an event counter. It is used as a square wave generator, and it is also used as a rate generator. So when we have the requirement of these things in any of the operations, then we will use timers in that particular devices. So next, this is all about the the timing device. So this is all about 8254 timers. So here you have learned something called, so what is a timer? So how the timer will works as a counter device. So why this timer is considered as a counter? So how the timer will use it to count the operations of the microprocessor or any other device connected to it, and how this timer has been different from this 8253 timer. How the 8254 timer is different from 8253, and we have discussed about all the features of 8254 timers. So 8253 and 8254 has same features. So it contains 3 independent 16-bit counters. So the time period of the each counter will be up to, the clock period timing is up to 10 megahertz. The frequency which it can accommodate is 10 megahertz. So it can be operated in various modes of operations. It is software programmable. So everything is same. So in between 8253 and 8254, the only added feature for this 8254 is it has a feature of readback. So readback is nothing but checking the count value. So whatever the count it is given to the user, so the user can again read back the counts by using this readback command. So the user can able to check the count value whether it has given a right count or not. So that will be verified by the user by using this readback option. So that is the added feature of 8254. That means we have discussed about the features of 8254 timer. So next we have seen the difference between a timer and a counter. Next we have discussed about the internal structure of the 8254 timer and how it is being operated. And the last thing is applications of 8254 timer. So now in the next class we will discuss the initialization of 8254 timer. So initialization of 8254 timer. So this we will see in next class. So that means how the system address has been defined, how we can generate the code word, how we can control the code words for 8254 timers, how the initialization operation has been done for 8254 counter. So that we will discuss in the next class. So here your topic is 8254 software programmable timer. So programming of this timer we will see in the next class. So we have discussed about everything about 8254, how the programming part, how we will initialize this 8254 timer. So that we will discuss in the next class. Clear about today's class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the next class, we will see the initialization concept of 8254 timer. Thank you.